Hi, I'm Judith Patterson. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Texas, and welcome to my YouTube channel. So today is Friday. That means I'm going to share with you a card from the catalog. So, if you've watched my channel before, you probably know I love finding inspiration out of Stampin' Up's catalogs and brochures. And sometimes for this Friday video, sometimes I will create a card from the catalog exactly like it's shown in the catalog. Sometimes I change it up a little. This time I'm changing it up kind of a lot. The basics are still the same, although I am changing the stamp set. So I think that is really the only change, but changing the stamp set can really change how things look. I changed one die and of course the sentiment and all that because the stamp set changed. So I think it has a totally different look, even though it is the same card. So we'll get to that in just a second. Before we do, I wanted to remind you, if you haven't seen already, this week I am featuring the gold and rose gold metallic specialty paper. This is 6x6 paper. This is my product of the week. So if you purchase this week, so through Sunday, I think Sunday's October 17th, whenever I send you my thank you card, which looks like this, I will send a couple of small sheets of this paper so that you can play around with it and see what you think. It also means everything I have created this week, I have used one or the other of these specialty papers on that project. So I'm going to show those to you real quick. Let me go ahead and switch the camera to my desk so that you can see these cards a little bit better. This other camera, I think it's just a clearer picture. So there we go. Let's get that out of the way. Okay, so let's get these in order here. This is the card that I posted on Monday, and this is my customer appreciation card for this month. So everyone who orders from me this month gets one of these in the mail. Let me see if I can open it up so you can see the inside. There you go. That's what the inside looks like. And so, like I said, this was posted on my blog on Monday. So Tuesday, I created a YouTube video showing you how to make this fun card. Isn't that neat with the gold behind the chocolate word? So there is a video on my channel showing you how to recreate this one. And then on Wednesday, it was on my blog too. Thursday, I did this one for a Facebook Live. Isn't that gorgeous? This card was so easy. The hardest part about it is poking out all these pieces from this die cut, but I think it turned out beautifully. And then the inside, I just did a couple of leftover scraps of that rose gold to decorate the inside. So then this one is not the card we're making today, but it's very similar. The card in the catalog, let me go ahead and show you that since we're right here. So this is on page 48 of the annual catalog, the 2021 to 2022 annual catalog. Let me see if I can get you a close-up of that page. There you go. So that is the card that we're going to be creating today. Only it's not going to look like that. So I don't have the Path to Greatness stamp set, which is what was used to make this card. And I really enjoyed it. I love the stamp set that I used to make this one. It's called Nothing's Better Than, and the die set that coordinates with it is Love You More Than. So I made this version first, and I really like the way it turned out. But then I thought, well, this one isn't quite close enough to that card in the catalog. So I made another one, and I'll show you that once we get to creating. And then this is a sneak peek. So this is the card that will be on my blog tomorrow. And I just added a touch of that gold paper with the dragonfly. And on the inside, I used the gold flakes and the heat and stick powder with Versamark to do this added bit of gold inside. I don't know why my camera's not focusing. Okay, so let's get started on today's card. I'm using Nothing's Better Than stamps. Like I said, I'll be using this coffee mug. I'll be using this little star or asterisk. I'm going to use Today's Plan, Consume, and Be Awesome. You can also, instead of saying and be awesome, you could use Because Adulting is Hard. But I like to be awesome. I don't know about you. Okay, and then I'm also going to be using, from the dies, I'll be using the coffee die and the coffee cup outline on the inside of the card. And then from Painted Labels, I'm not going to use this one. They did use this in the catalog, but since I'm using the coffee word die, I'm not going to use this one. I'm going to skip that. I think it would be too much. But I will be using these two dies. And then we're using the Crumb Cake Baker's Twine. Nope, not Crumb Cake. Very vanilla Baker's Twine. And Cinnamon Cider ink is the only ink we're using other than Versamark. So the first thing I'm going to do is take the Mint Macaron card base and fold it in half and score it. So this is cut 8.5 by 5.5 inches and scored at 4.25 inches. Okay, so now that this is all scored and ready to go, I'm going to take that coffee cup and the cinnamon cider ink pad, and I'm just going to randomly stamp this on the front of my card. And there's no perfect way to do this. It's just very random. I am making sure, though, that I'm stamping off the card and on the card. And go in different directions. Then I'm going to put that to the side for now, and I'm going to get this little asterisk piece. I don't know if you can see that very well. And let's see if it'll focus. Okay, it's not. Oh, yep, there it goes. Oh, that's perfect. Okay, so it's like a little asterisk or a star. And I'm going to get the Versamark. And I re-inked my Versamark today, so it's very, very sticky. And I'm just going to place these, again, very randomly, over the front of my card, around all, in between all of these coffee mugs. And again, there's really no right or wrong. It doesn't matter how many you do. I'm kind of doing a lot this time. Then I'm going to take my gold embossing powder. And when I did my sample card, I only did half of this at a time. I'm going to see what happens trying to do all of it at a time. I will say, though, if you are doing it this way, I forgot to use my embossing buddy. Oh, my Lanta. I'm going to have, yep, powder stuck everywhere. So, I have my tiny little paintbrush here, but I don't have my big one. So, we'll just... So I'm going to clean this off. And I'm not going to make you sit and watch all of this. This is going to take a minute. So let me pause the video and I'll get this cleaned up. Okay, so that's a really important step that I tend to forget a lot. Remember to always use an embossing buddy. And if you don't have an embossing buddy, A used dryer sheet works too. Just rub it all over the front of your card before you start stamping with Versamark. And that just helps to get the static out so that all of the powder, it just sticks to where your Versamark is. It doesn't stick to your card just randomly. All right, so I'm gonna set this now with the heat tool. That's done. So one thing I think is really cool about this, so the ink is not really enough to set the embossing powder, but it will do it a little bit. So because I didn't dry this ink completely before adding, I don't know what that is, before adding the Versamark and the powder, you can see some of these have just a touch. Some have more than others, but they have a touch of the gold even on the coffee mugs. Like I said, not all of them. You can see a little bit. That one does. And then the one next to it has a whole bunch. So just depending on how, and I don't know how I just did that. I don't know if I put my finger in the Versamark or what I did. But I think that what I will do is cover it up. Gonna add my embossing buddy. Might be a little late now, but I'm doing it. Gonna place that right over there. I'm gonna add just a little bit of this gold. Gonna tap it off. I'm going to go ahead and use my brush to tidy it up some. Okay. There we go. That easy to fix that mistake. Okay. So I just think it's cool that there's a touch of gold on these coffee mugs, but they're not completely gold. But if you don't like that, if you don't like them being partially embossed, then dry your ink with your heat tool before you use your embossing buddy or your fabric sheet and add the Versamark. So dry, then emboss. And that'll keep you from having the touches of gold. But like I say, I think it's cool. Okay. So my next step is to get out my mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, and I'm going to get these painted labels dies, and I'm going to get the coffee die from Love You More Than, and I'm going to go ahead and get this. So before I get the embossing machine out, I'm going to go ahead and going to stamp a coffee mug right here. And then I'm going to get a scrap of cardstock, and I'm going to stamp this Today's Plan Consume. I'm going to put it right here. And then on this inside sheet, I'm going to go ahead and stamp and Be Awesome. And then we're finished stamping. Now it's just time to finish gathering our pieces and put it all together. So I'm going to grab the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. Getting my plates, my number one plate and my number two plates. I'm going to start with this die and this piece of gold cardstock. So I just cut one of those 6x6 pieces in half. don't want to waste this. So I got it pretty close to the edge. Let me go ahead and just bring it back to me. There we go. Okay, so then I'm going to take this mint macaron piece and I'm going to put the coffee cup die around my stamp. And I'm just going to go ahead and tape it down with some washi tape so it doesn't move around too much. And I'm also using the coffee word die. Put both of those through and bring them back. Okay, and then the last one is today's plan, consume. I want this to be in the upper corner, pretty close to the top, and I want it straight. So this is why I always stamp and then cut, so that I can, if I get my stamp a little crooked, that's not a big deal because I can use my die to cut it out straight. So I'm going to use my take your pick tool to poke out these pieces and the words that didn't come out. There we go. And now I'm going to start assembling the card. The first thing I'm going to do is figure out where I'm putting this. So because I forgot to use my embossing buddy, this part has like some extra flakes of embossing powder that really don't need to be there. So I'm just going to use my embossing buddy, or not my embossing buddy, but I'm going to use my die cut pieces to cover that up some. I'm going to see if I can, no, I thought I might be able to rub some of those off, but they're there. So I'm going to put this right here, which is pretty much where I put it on the sample card I made. The book, the catalog example, has it over here. So it's up to you. You can put it in the middle if you want to. You can put it low or put it high, but I'm going to put it back over here again. So knowing that, I'm going to get my glue dots and I'm going to put one glue dot here. And I'm going to put one glue dot here. So I know they'll be hidden behind this. Then I'm going to grab that vanilla baker's twine. And I'm going to start it right here at the end of this glue dot. And I'm just going to wrap it around the front of my card. And every time I wrap it around and I get to these glue dots, just going to mash it in so that it sticks. And then I'm going to do one more time. And I'm going to stick the end to this one here. And you can crisscross them, you can have them spread out, whatever look you like to have. So then I'm going to take my scissors and just cut that off right there. Then I'm going to use my Stampin' Dimensionals to attach this over that twine. And I'm sticking it to me as well. There we go. So now I'm going to use a sponge dauber and my liquid glue with my silicone mat. Just going to give myself a little puddle of glue here. I'm going to flip this coffee over. And I'm just going to dab some glue to the back of this word. I'm going to attach it here. Then I'm going to use Stampin' Dimensionals again. To attach this piece to the other die cut piece. So I didn't put a dimensional in the middle of that larger one because the twine is in the middle of the larger one, so I didn't want to have it lumpy. So I made sure my dimensionals were not directly over the twine. Okay, so there's the front of our card. Then I'm going to take this piece. I'm just going to add, oh my goodness. I stamped this vertically. Our card is horizontal. So I'm going to flip it over. And I'm going to stamp again. So, thank goodness we have two sides to our cardstock and we can use either side. Just had this fear that I was doing everything upside down, but I'm not. It's all good. Okay, so there is that piece, and then I'm going to take my liquid glue again, add some to the back of the coffee mug. Then I'm just going to put this at the bottom. And you can put it straight up and down or kind of crooked like that and make it a little sassy. Whatever you want to do, but that's how I like it. And there is our card. So I hope you enjoyed this one. I hope you've enjoyed seeing this week how to use this gold and rose gold metallic specialty paper. It is so handy, such a fun way to give your cards just a little extra something, and it's really easy to use. So that's all I have for you today. I will add that link to my Facebook page in the description, so if you'd like to follow me on Facebook, I would love that. And if you like this video and you haven't already, go ahead and hit that like button and hit the subscribe button down below if you'd like to see more. Thanks so much for watching. Happy stamping!